By the time you guys are watching this, it will have been at least 48 hours since the tragic situation with Damar Hamlin on Monday Night Football. Which, by the way, just in case you guys haven't heard yet, there have been some positive developments with the condition of Damar Hamlin. As of the time I'm prepping this video, which is about 5:20 this afternoon, Damar Hamlin remains in critical condition, but he is showing signs of improvement. Hopefully, this will continue and he will make a full recovery. But by the time you watch this video, it will have been 48 hours since everything happened. Up until this point, I've been kind of nice, or at least nicer than usual with how I've approached this story. I still called people out who deserved it, but I've toned down the rhetoric just a little bit. I haven't been as abrasive as I normally am. This situation was unprecedented. Reacting to stories in the immediate aftermath, you want to show a level of respect to Damar Hamlin and his family. But we've all had a couple of days to adjust. Men who are overly emotional, men who are in touch with their feelings, they've had some time to cool off. With that being the case, it is time for the gloves to come off. Because once again, we have someone employed at ESPN putting their stupidity on display. Where in the hell do they find these people? I wish I could find a job posting from ESPN. I would be interested to see what qualities they are looking for in their on-air personalities. These so-called experts. Graduate of woke you, completely out of touch with cisgender birthing persons formerly classified as normal people, thinks with emotion instead of logic, marginalized groups preferred, kindly insert your resume inside the crack of the bongo. How many of you guys have ever heard of Courtney Cronin? I don't see any hands raised back there, which is no surprise. I've been covering the sports media for years. I have never heard of Courtney Cronin. Tried doing some research to find some background information on her. After about 5 minutes, I just gave up. Wasn't much available. It appears Courtney Cronin has been working for ESPN since at least 2017. With nearly 6 years at the worldwide leader in woke, the prognosis doesn't look good. It is entirely possible, with that much exposure to the filth, Courtney Cronin is 100% infected with the woke fungus. Now, I couldn't find any proof of her diagnosis, so I can't tell you with certainty that's the case. And hopefully I'm using proper pronouns here. God forbid I offend her by continuing to refer to her as a woman. Yesterday on Around the Horn. Casey, what the hell's Around the Horn? Around the Horn is a once popular show that few people realize is still on the air. They don't know it exists. Host Tony Reale has a panel of shitfucks who compete in a game called The Emotional Escapades. They battle it out to see who can be the most offended. They put their fake outrage on full display. One day, Bill Plaschke will be offended by the Kansas City Chiefs, who refuse to rename themselves the Queefs or the Guardians. He will toss the woke wiener to Mina Kimes, who will shed tears over the mythical misogyny that she deals with, being an unconfirmed woman in sports media. The wiener gets tossed to Sarah Spain, who whines about not receiving any matches on her Grindr profile. Yesterday, it was Courtney Cronin's turn to display fake outrage. Right now, we don't know if the game between the Bills and Bengals is going to be replayed, rescheduled. What we do know, the NFL has decided to move forward with all Week 18 games as scheduled. Now, this is a real problem for Courtney Cronin, another member of the media who thinks emotionally instead of thinking logically. Yesterday on Around the Horn, she offered her revolutionary solution as to what Roger Goodell should do regarding Week 18. It's the same solution being pushed by numerous people in the media. This solution has one minor flaw, which I will explain in a second, but it's the egregious comparison Courtney Cronin makes that caught my attention. Watch for yourself.
I do know that while we have heard that this game, it's not going to be played this week, the other Week 18 games, we have no word on that yet. And the word I get around from people talking the league is that the NFL is a reactive league and not a proactive league. How can you expect other players who were not at this game last night to want to go out and play in these Week 18 season finales? It just feels like the NFL is missing the mark here. We've seen precedent for this before. In 2001, after 9/11, they didn't play those Week 2 games because the players did not want to play. The league was trying to force that thing through, and it was the players' decision to not play. They have the bye week in between the NFC and AFC championships. Between that and the Super Bowl, they could utilize that. They can move the schedule back. No one should be playing in Week 18.
Are you fucking kidding me? Look, what I'm about to say, I am not disrespecting Damar Hamlin or his family. I am not downplaying what happened to him Monday night. But to compare what happened Monday night to the biggest terrorist attack on American soil, that is absolutely ridiculous. 3,000 people died on 9/11. That doesn't count all the first responders who died many years later from breathing in all that shit trying to save people's lives running back into the buildings. Thousands of people were injured. 9/11 impacted the entire country. All 50 states were impacted that day. Of course, the NFL pushed back games that week. And this isn't even counting the thousands of men and women in the military who lost their lives in Afghanistan and Iraq fighting a war that happened because of 9/11. I don't care what the shitfucks in the media say, Roger Goodell is making the right decision by going through with Week 18 as scheduled. At some point, the show must go on. Like I said the other day, life does not stop when tragedy happens. It might pause for a few hours. It might even pause 24 hours. But life always goes on. The media continues spreading what I think is a false notion that all NFL players must be so emotional, oh so impacted by what happened Monday night. Why? Why? This had nothing to do with football. In the past, we have seen NFL players get leveled. We have seen helmet-to-helmet hits cause players to be driven off the field in an ambulance. Did both teams come together refusing to finish the game? Did the NFL front office step in and postpone the game? No. The player was carted off the field. Groups of players kneeled to say a prayer for him. The game moved on. I was reading a report this afternoon. Apparently, ESPN and the NFL are trading public punches. On several occasions Monday night, Joe Buck informed the audience that players were given 5 minutes to warm up, then play would resume. Now, this was said 3, maybe 4 times. ESPN is now claiming they were in constant communication with the NFL front office, and that's what they were being told. The NFL is claiming they never gave ESPN any directives that play would resume, calling the claim ridiculous while labeling ESPN insensitive. There's that word again, insensitive. I guess I'm going to have to add insensitive to the list of woke boner words. All fucking week, all I've heard about is sensitivity, or people like Skip Bayless being insensitive. There is no such thing in business as sensitivity. Business decisions are not made with emotion. Now, normally, I would not believe a damn word coming from ESPN, but this particular situation, I actually believe them. I think the NFL was going to move forward with this game Monday night. I think they saw the reaction on Twitter. I think they saw how Skip Bayless was being crucified by the Butt Brigade, and the NFL made the decision to postpone the game, which is something ESPN should be able to relate to since all their decisions are based on Twitter reactions. But anyway, back to Courtney Cronin, who insists Week 18 should be delayed. Let me tell you the problem with that. And it's a small problem. It is a small problem, but still a problem nonetheless. Out of all professional sports leagues, the NFL is the most equitable. And I hate to use a woke boner word here, but the NFL is the most competitively balanced league. All 32 teams have an equal opportunity going into the season to make the playoffs, win the Super Bowl. On paper, worst team in the league, nearly as talented as the best team in the league. One of the reasons there is a bye week between the conference championships and the Super Bowl is the Senior Bowl. Scouts, head coaches, general managers, team owners, they all spend a week at the Senior Bowl scouting players for the draft. If you remove the bye week, 4 teams won't have the opportunity to do that. Now, is that a huge deal? Not really, no, but the point is, that is a consideration Roger Goodell has to make. In a league that strives to keep the playing field leveled, 28 other teams would be given a slight advantage over the other 4. Now, I know we've spent a lot of time this week talking about ESPN. Usually, I try to spread out the topics. I try not to focus on the same story multiple days in a row. We have all known for a while now, ESPN is complete trash. But this week really highlighted just how shitty ESPN is. I would be embarrassed to work at this network. Outside of Stephen A. Smith, I can't think of one personality at ESPN that moves the needle. Speaking of Stephen A., before we wrap up, I do want to commend him for something. Yesterday, Stephen A. Smith was interviewed by USA Today. They asked him about Skip Bayless, the tweet. Instead of Stephen A. jumping on the wiener wagon with the rest of the butt brigade, he actually came to the defense of Skip Bayless. To my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but to my knowledge, Stephen A. Smith is the only person in the mainstream media to publicly defend Skip Bayless. You know, I hope Skip Bayless has been awakened this week. These shitfucks are not your friends. There is no loyalty here. They will turn on you the second you step out of line. Hell, you don't even have to step out of line. We know these people have trouble reading. All they have to do is misunderstand you, and you're evicted from Woke United Methodist. I hope Skip Bayless realized that this week. I think Stephen A. Smith realized it last summer. We are starting to see more and more of the real Stephen A., but give me your thoughts. Courtney Cronin demands the NFL push back Week 18 while also comparing Monday night to 9/11. How out of touch can you be? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.